Hello, this is Roberto Giobbi, and I welcome you to the 14th installment of the Magic Memory. We are Sunday, 4th of April, 2021. Yeah, we're here in my writer's corner of my studio, so no fancy setup, and I hope everything sufficiently good for you to see what we're going to talk about today. Would like to first perform a little take of mine on Peter Kane's Jazz Aces. And if you like, you can stay with me a few minutes after that, and I'll be discussing a few problems of this trick and the solutions I have found. So, without further ado, let's start. I'm often asked, Roberto, how is it possible that you do these incredible things? And I have to admit, well, there is a secret, and the secret is we call it misdirection, and it has to do with the ladies in the deck, right? This is why it's called misdirection. Otherwise, it would be called Mr. Direction if it was with the kings. Now, of course, you're wondering, what are they misdirecting from? Now, they are misdirecting from what the aces, the most important cards in a deck of cards, are going to do. Actually, they're not going to use the remainder of the pack, which you're going to put aside. Now, here is what's going to happen. We have the misdirecting queens, and here are the aces, which I'm going to place here on the table so you can see that. Actually, to give it a little bit more mystery, if you don't mind, we're going to turn them face down, right? And as well, the aces, going to put them face down here on the table, and maybe this one, since this is the most important one, goes face up. And here are the remaining four queens, of which I take one, which I'm going to put on the ace of spades. So the ace of hearts is the red spade, so to speak, goes with the here very slowly. And here are the other queens, go here with the first ace. Now watch the queens misdirecting you. Very slowly and very clearly, there is no doubt about this. Here are the three queens. Oh, you already looked in their eyes and they misdirected you. Look, the Queen of Hearts, she traveled over here, and here, of course, with the Ace of Spades, is the first ace. Now, very slowly, and again, let's do this again. The four queens over here, one goes here with the other one, two, three, go with the second ace. Very slowly and unmistakably, one, two, three, no doubt about it. Here are the queens. You already looked into her eyes. She misdirected you. Look at that. She came back. And over here is, of course, the thing. There's one left, which the ace of diamonds. Here we have the queen of spades, of hearts, of clubs, and of diamonds. So spade, of hearts, of clubs, and of diamonds. Now that you know what is coming, don't let yourself be misdirected. Or maybe, look, one, two, three. Maybe succumb to the charm of the ladies. It has already happened. Look, here it is. All the four ladies. And here are the four aces. Well, that's why we say the four ladies are the real magic of a magician's deck of cards. So, here's my little take, and I hope you found a few interesting things. Let me comment on it. It's not something I've been using for many years, so there are a few little things that need to be adjusted, but generally I think it might be an interesting thing for you to think over. The first thing I'm always bothered with any type of trick is what is the effect? What is the effect, and why do the things we do? Why do we do them? What's the meaning of them? Is there a justification for it? Now here we definitely have a travel effect. Actually, it's a double travel, which we call in magic a transposition. Now, transposition is one of the most problematic effects, as I have pointed out in several of my writings, because the spectator must follow actually four pieces of information. You have a card A and a card B, and you have a space 1 and a space 2. There's four pieces of information. Now, fortunately, in this, the construction that has been given to us by Peter Kane and his wonderful jazz aces, we have an ace, a lead race, without could name that or not, and some other cards. So this makes the position, the locations quite clear, and also their identity. So that takes care of this confusion, this potential confusion. Now, my first question here was why is always three black cards, which in the original you use four black cards, actually, four black cards. Why not three, like in the classic four aces? Why not five? Why four black cards? So I thought, what would be a logical reason to justify the number four? And an obvious thought is to use four other cards. You know, like the aces, it's logical that you're using four because there are just four, and so four other cards. So that was a possible solution. And then I thought, well, what could these be? They have to be contrast cards, obviously, and the best contrast, in my opinion, to the low spot cards, which are the aces, are obviously picture cards. So the next step to the ladies was not so far. And then I was reminded of a gag I believe I've heard many years ago from Christian Chelman, with whom I worked together many times in, at the Magic Castle the first time, when we were both very young, and then in Brussels, in Belgium, where he resides. And he used that in a different context, completely different trick. So I thought this makes a nice way of introducing the ladies, first of all, and also to give a sort of surreal plot, to presentational plot to this trick, which is the misdirection. So this, as I've said also several times, I do not like to tell stories during the trick, with very few exceptions, because in my experience, the story detracts from the trick and the trick detracts from the story. There are very rare cases where we can bring together the two, so the spectator's absolute clarity is maintained during the complete presentation. That's just my experience, my opinion. So here I'm using this idea of the misdirection as a frame. I use it in the prologue at the beginning. I make a reference back in the epilogue at the end, and I just mention it in between in just a word and not more, so as not to detract from the actual very visual nature of this trick. Okay, so there's a few thoughts, a few problems I pointed out at the presentational, at the dramatic construction. You might like or you might not like my answers. This is not so important. The important thing is to ask the question, and these are the questions that, in my opinion, need to be asked with every trick. What is the effect? What is the phenomenon? Why are we using what we are using, So now we go to the technical construction, which has some interesting problems to solve in spite of its apparent outward simplicity. Now, the first thing is, when the aces are laid out, one of them must be switched out for one of the queens. Now, there are any partial packet switch strategies that you're familiar with, which can solve that problem. Now, in this particular case, I've used this bottom deal, which is very simple to do on a small packet. I'm just briefly commenting on it. It has one big advantage. You don't have to bring the packets together, which is another of those things which just doesn't make sense normally. When you, like, very often when we're doing the Braue edition, have the deck here and have the cards here. Now you're bringing them here to show them again. You're showing them, putting them down. So putting the cards together when it is not apparently necessary is not a good thing. Normally, in my opinion, it needs to be. It's another problem that requires you to think about and to find a solution. So this particular case, we have the queens, which are in hand because I'm talking about the queens. I take the aces and start to distribute them, which is a nice way because it establishes already this pattern. It has an air of innocence. It's also a sort of actus interruptus, which means I'm starting something and then I'm stopping and doing something apparently for the advantage of your enjoyment. I say, let's put a little bit more mystery to it. And this is a very clear turnover, and of course the spectators get used to this sort of honest thing. And I'm turning these on block over. I look down, I do this very slowly, and here I look up, and it's very easy to do, and I do this on the right side, so I have the best cover, rather than doing it over here where I have less cover. Do it over here. So the bottom deal here is very simple. Just push over a card, and do like in an Emsley card, you go just do a pinch grip with 3 fingers, just push back. So this is how it looks. It's virtually invisible, and through the fact that the audience has got used to the first two harmless actions, innocent actions, they will believe that. So that's one possibility. Another handling I've been using for some time is, remember here are the aces. I have the queens. They are taken out at the beginning. Then the aces are taken out. I simply pick up the aces, with them pick up the queens, which brings the packets together, but it's done in a continuous movement, right? So it's together. And I would display the queens and say, going to put the ace, we're going to put face down, and the other smaller one, we're going to put them down like this. And here are the queens, which go over here. Okay, so this here is what happens. We have the queen of that. I pick them up like this. As I show the cards, I cull. I usually take the last one. You can do it on the third one if you like. Simply cull. This is a beautiful way of switching one or several cards in a small packet. I've been using this in other small packet tricks. I think it's volume 3 or 4 of a Card College in the Set Reset Plus, for instance, and in Oil and Water, please. You could also use a wedge break, a Vernon wedge break, and put the card inside, or similar strategies. But I just have an affinity for this movement, and it comes over very well. It's practically invisible. Look at how harmless it is. So I have this queen already in the back. You can put the ace on top, and now as a first action you go like this, and then like that. And a very nice thing when I display, I have here though the ace and the queens. Just draw the second queen a little bit to the right, which will automatically afford enough cover for the ace. Immediately I go in a double lift of a 4-card packet, which is a technique various people have come up with, but I think popularized was Brother John Hammond popularized that. I remember Ascanio taught me that. Fred Capps used that a lot. So instead of doing a buckle, which is really an inferior solution here, simply push off all 3, block the bottom card of the triplet on the face, push off another, and you get this wonderful look, breakless and very harmless looking, very innocent looking double lift. Immediately I turn over this ace, and now I stay in this space, turn over this, bring that away, and drop that. So really, the audience sees virtually with their inner eye the queen of clubs. Here I use a ploy that we use in the King's Incognito, I think it was believed, a surprise package in Frank Garcia's book. So this is a very deceptive little piece of handling. You apparently show the well, you actually do show the queens, but you don't show the club which went over there. Now put this on the first ace, and using a property of the Emslie count. There's different properties. One of them is that you switch out. Well, you show the first card twice. In this case, you don't show it because they are all backs, but you're switching it out. So that means if you do an Emslie count here, you count 1, 2, 3. Apparently, you've taken the queen, but really, this is very practical. You've brought back the queen of clubs, which was the one on top to begin with. So this marks a transposition. So I say, whenever you look, oh, you already looked at the queens. That's when I bring back the topic, just in one sentence. Misdirection. Then I go like this. Now, in the Emslie count that will follow, you show the face card twice, and they don't want to remember them. So I'm going to put this on the back. I'm going to put it on the back and show the first ace attached transposed. Now this is, of course, this is the second effect. The first effect is that the queen traveled, you got the ace, of course, so you get the transposition effect. And this, of course, this is an effect which causes an interference in the ultra short time memory of the spectator, which makes him forget the card he saw on the face. So this allows me now to flip the packet over, and I'm using a fingertip handling here of the Emslie count, so I can immediately go like this, and the hardly show. I mean, I can show it, but it's just hardly since it's double. And then do this cup subtlety. What's like that? It was shown to me many years ago by Ascanio, Tude Ascanio, my spiritual father, and he attributed it to Fred Capps. That's why I call this the Capps show, and I described it in Card College Volume 5 within one of the tricks with the it's a Joker assembly. It's Joker. Anyway, so I can now show the other 3 queens, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you look at the presentation again, you will see how this flows very smoothly, and the passing from one movement onto the next is all logically justified. Yeah? So here comes the next. Again, the same ploy, 1, 2, 3, an Emslie count, or you looked into that and show the queen, go like this. I again turn them face up and turn them face up. Now comes, I look. You can, of course, choose to do this always with the same order of the cards. I didn't bother in this case. So I say in the last one, and I look which ace is missing. So I must call it the ace of diamonds. I must call it the ace of diamonds. And at the same time, I look at the card, which in this case is the queen of diamonds, right? So this allows me to do this little miscall stratagem, which I was taught by my maybe greatest teacher, Juan Tamares, who appears many times in my books and videos and everywhere. And it's a wonderful little stratagem to camouflage the shortcoming of the Emslie count, which you already mentioned, which is showing the face card twice. So I flip this over, and I immediately, in the first count, miscall the first queen, which is a heart, as the queen of diamonds. So here's how it looks. And here are, of course, the queen of diamonds, spade, club, spade, and heart. So diamond, and I do the caps thing on the ace here. diamond, immediately repeat club, spade, and heart. So if you do this in a flowing way, this is incredibly deceptive because you hear and you apparently see the queen of diamonds, you know. So here there is nothing to be done because really we do have the queen of diamonds here, and these are really the queens. So you can, in a very harmless way, sort of action of confirmation, because everything you've done in a tricky way before is now repeated. The handling gestalt is exactly the same, but you are it's harmless. And then you see the misdirection, and this is the queen of diamonds, which you just mentioned, of course. So this is the first effect. I flip the queens over, and with a moment, just a second, 2 seconds, 21, 22, it's a little dramatic pause, turn over the last one, and here it's done. And then comes some kind of epilogue that will connect to the prologue at the beginning. So maybe you can say this is why the queens are the real magicians in a magician's deck, or whatever deems for you makes sense for you and is elegant. Well, there you are. I've touched on a few points which I think are relevant for the study of any magic trick, not just card tricks. And I hope you could use some of the ideas. Don't forget to write down when you watch this again, whenever you come on an interesting idea, on a polyvalent concept, take your notebook, write it down, yes, and look it up from time to time. And especially, above all, try to implement an idea, an insight you have gained from this trick into one of your other tricks, because so you will not only have learned a new trick, but you have also hopefully made your other tricks a little better. So, wish you a successful week. Bye-bye.